Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another marvelous video. Addams Family fans, gather round because today we're digging into one of the spookiest and surprisingly sweetest staples lurking behind those creaky mansion doors, the family's unforgettable butler, Lurch. From black and white TV all the way to his mysterious Netflix makeover, in this video we're going to be exploring what makes Lurch, Lurch. So sit back and enjoy as we dive into our favorite freaky housekeep. Before we get into this explanation though, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Lurch's spooky origins. Step through the front doors of the Addams mansion and odds are you'll first lay eyes on Lurch. But where did this iconic butler come from? What's lurking in his backstory? Well, that's what we're starting with today. When Charles Addams started doodling scenes in the New Yorker way back in the late 1930s, Lurch was more of a spooky manservant than a fully fleshed out character, just the kind of guy you'd catch in the background. He wasn't given a name or a backstory at first, he was just the very image of tall, dark, and mysterious. Addams never spelled out where Lurch came from, and honestly, that only adds to his spooky appeal. Over the years, snippets have emerged that Lurch is a family name, he had a mother who called him Sonny, there's a Frankenstein joke about someone having put him together, and more than one hint that this towering servant might not be entirely human. Every adaptation cooks up its own kooky explanation. Sometimes Lurch is simply the butler who came with the house. In others, he's an escaped asylum inmate who accidentally stumbles into loyal service. Did you know some versions even play with the idea that the Addamses might have actually constructed Lurch themselves, or that his role as family might be more literal in some adaptations? Across every take, though, one thing's clear. Under all that, there's a surprisingly gentle heart, a guy who's just as likely to protect the Addams kids as he is to drop a chandelier on a pesky guest. Lurch's unique bond with Wednesday and Pugsley often shines through, whether he's watching over them, teaching them the harpsichord, or shielding them from danger, as he's as much a gentle giant as he is a guardian. And so, Lurch's true origin stays shrouded in mystery, just as it should be. After all, a little mystery is part of the Addams magic. How Ted Cassidy's Lurch stole his show. First, let's set the scene. Black and white creaky sets and a family whose idea of a good time involves sword fighting at the breakfast table. There, looming in the background, or honestly looming everywhere, is Lurch, brought to life by the phenomenal Ted Cassidy. Back in 1964, TV had seen its fair share of butlers, but none quite like this. At a whopping 6'9", Cassidy didn't just play Lurch, he turned the Addams' butler into an icon. Funny thing is, Lurch wasn't supposed to talk at all. The character started out as a mute, perfectly in line with the creepy old-school cartoons, but sometimes magic happens by accident. During the pilot, Cassidy ad-libbed the famous line, "Oorang," and it landed so well that not only did it stick, but Lurch himself suddenly had a whole lot more to say. What followed was pure TV gold. Lurch's deadpan humor became a staple of the show, whether he was towering silently, dropping perfectly timed one-liners, or glowering at unwanted guests. Ted Cassidy's unique voice and presence made Lurch hilarious without ever breaking character. And then there was the music, Lurch pounding away at the harpsichord, providing spooky soundtracks for family hijinks. Viewers even found out that the man behind the butler could carry a tune and move those giant feet. Cassidy released a novelty single, The Lurch, in 1965. You can find old footage of Cassidy performing the song on TV, complete with his signature jerky movements and deadpan glare. Lurch Learns to Dance turned into a classic episode, and, believe it or not, Cassidy's popularity as Lurch even sparked a hilarious 1960s dance craze called The Lurch, which was inspired by the catchy song he released. Fans absolutely loved this character. In fact, Lurch received a ton of fan mail, especially from teenage girls in the 60s. And Ted Cassidy also played the mysterious hand, Thing, reaching out of boxes and making mischief behind the scenes. Fun fact, as Batman and Robin scaled the wall of the Penguin's restaurant in the classic Batman episode, The Penguin's Nest, Ted Cassidy made a memorable guest appearance, fully in character as Lurch. With the faint strains of the Addams Family theme sneaking into the background, Lurch popped his head out of a window, startled by the sight of Gotham's finest. After a trademark groan, he admitted they had startled him. Batman, keeping things light, told Lurch he could head back to his harpsichord, while Robin assured him they were on official superhero business. The usual way. Lurch gets animated. It's one thing to see Lurch lurking around a mansion in black and white, but what happens when he's unleashed in the Saturday morning cartoons? Well, as it turns out, animated Lurch is still a legend, just with a little extra bounce in his step. The first time the Addamses hit the animated screen was back in 1973, courtesy of Hanna-Barbera, and Lurch got a glow-up that only Saturday morning TV could provide. Suddenly, he was less menacing, but even more endearing. His trusty harpsichord was always close by, and his deep "you rang" softened into something almost cozy. He wasn't just the background ghoul anymore, he was part of the crew. The voice behind Lurch in this adaptation was also Ted Cassidy. Fast forward to the 90s, and a new animated Addams Family arrived, and this one had a colorful energy and a Lurch that was somehow even more delightfully bizarre than before. Lurch's look got a modern update, and his voice went more towards a comedic direction, but he never lost that loyal, slightly awkward charm. He might have been drawn a bit skinnier and gotten even paler, but he was always the go-to guy for ghoulish piano riffs and dry retorts. Things got especially wild in the episode No Ifs, Ands, or Butlers. Here, we met Lurch's father, a massive blue-skinned scientist who proudly admits he put together his son. And the family tree only gets weirder. Granny Frump lets slip that Lurch's ancestors were all stitched together oddballs, assembled with extra parts across different historical eras, and, in a truly bizarre twist, even Abraham Lincoln is hinted to have a secret branch on the Lurch family tree. Bringing even more personality to this revival, voice acting legend Jim Cummings, who played Winnie the Freakin' Pooh, took up the role of Lurch, layering every "you rang" with extra comedic flair. And just when fans thought they had seen it all, the Addamses returned for the 2019 and 2021 animated movies, this time with Lurch redesigned in stunning CGI and voiced with a fresh dose of deadpan by Conrad Vernon. Once more, he was right where he belonged, providing the soundtrack, clutching a mop, and lurking just out of sight until it was time to drop a punchline. When the Addamses made their big-screen animated comeback, Lurch's origin got a quirky twist worthy of the family's offbeat legacy. As Gomez, Morticia, and Thing rolled up to their new home, an abandoned haunted asylum, they accidentally hit an escapee with their car. That unlucky, or perhaps very lucky soul turned out to be Lurch, whom the Addamses welcomed as their loyal butler. Lurch in the 1990s. When the Addams Family lurched, pun intended, back onto the big screen in 1991, fans were treated to a Lurch that was both instantly familiar and new. Carell Struycken, who was 7 feet tall, slipped right into the role with hardly any need for special effects. But it wasn't just Struycken's height that made this Lurch unforgettable. This Lurch barely spoke, and he didn't need to. A single raised eyebrow, a bow, or a surprise stumble during the infamous Mamushka dance with Gomez was enough to launch countless laughs and memes. In Addams Family Values, he practically stole the wedding scene, gliding across the ballroom and dropping deadpan glances that said more than a whole script of dialogue ever could. Struycken's Lurch was never just the scary butler, he became the silent heartbeat of the Addams madness. There's a famous scene in Addams Family Values where the family's sly villain, Debbie, tries to make her grand entrance during a wild wedding party. Out of nowhere, Lurch sweeps her across the ballroom floor in a surprisingly graceful dance, becoming the unlikely star of the moment. In Addams Family Reunion, Lurch is once again brought to life by Carell Struycken, the only main cast member to return from the first 2 films for this quirky sequel. Unlike the earlier movies, here the film drops a wild twist about his origins. It's revealed that Lurch is actually part Addams. He's described as being made from various body parts, with his one guaranteed Addams trait being his heart. You know what really makes Struycken's Lurch stick with you? It's like he gathered up all the best bits from every Lurch and somehow made it his own. Lurch in Netflix's Wednesday. Just when you thought the Addams Family couldn't get any stranger, along comes Netflix's Wednesday, and with it, a Lurch who's just as mysterious as ever, maybe even more so. Played by George Bercia, this latest version of the Addams butler is not content to just glide gloomily by. He's been given a slick new makeover and a darker edge. Bercia's Lurch barely says a word, and although he stands just over 6 feet tall, a bit shorter than some of his predecessors, he easily towers over the rest of the cast and fills every scene with that signature Lurch intensity. Right from the first episode, Lurch is at the wheel, driving Gomez, Morticia, and the ever-grumpy Wednesday to her new chapter at Nevermore Academy. His deadpan glances are a perfect counterbalance to the Addams family's odd energy. While he's not a blood relative, Lurch is every bit a part of the clan, portrayed as their trusted butler and valet who doesn't need witty lines to make a statement. In fact, his rare grunts, slow blinks, and looming stature say more than words ever could. Tim Burton and the showrunners leaned into the character's roots drawing inspiration from Charles Addams' original illustrations to make Lurch feel both fresh and classic. The new series frames him as a shadowy, ever-present figure lurking in the background, opening doors with a supernatural poise and hinting at secrets of his own. Fans have been quick to speculate about the finale's cryptic twist, with some theorizing that there's more to this Lurch than meets the eye. In the last episode, as Wednesday leaves Nevermore Academy, Lurch drives her home, but attentive viewers notice that his eyes appear a different color than they did earlier in the season. In the first episode, Lurch is seen with a distinct glassy pale eye, but in the finale, both eyes look darker and normal. This visual change led to a popular fan theory. Some believe that the Lurch seen at the end is not the real Lurch, but someone else in disguise, potentially a shapeshifter. Also, while George Bercia made an impression in Season 1, the role has already been recast for Season 2, and Jonas Suotamo, known for playing Chewbacca, is stepping into the role. What makes Lurch, Lurch? Across every era, no matter who plays him, Lurch has always been tall as a tombstone, dressed like he's ready for a midnight funeral, and moving with that unmistakable shuffle. When Lurch first appeared in the comics alongside Morticia, he looked surprisingly different from the version we know today. He was still tall and broad-shouldered, but there was something more down-to-earth about him. His face was bearded and his hair was long and unkempt, giving him the look of a weary artist rather than a classic monster. He felt more human and less haunted. But that version didn't stick around for long. In the comics that followed, Lurch gradually took on the more familiar form, thinner, gloomier, and just a little bit more unsettling. He's not just the Addams family's butler, he is equal parts ghoulish bodyguard and quirky handman, with more than a passing resemblance to Frankenstein's monster, if Frankenstein needed someone to fix his leaky pipes and dusting cobwebs. In Charles Addams' original cartoons, Lurch was often spotted trailing after the family, sometimes solemnly wielding a feather duster, other times standing still while Morticia and Gomez gleefully decorated him like a Christmas tree. The TV show took his iconic look and gave it a voice, deep, rumbling, and somehow both spooky and reassuring at once. While Lurch absolutely can talk, he often sticks to gravelly groans or drawn-out sighs, yet somehow, Gomez and Morticia always get the message, like he's speaking a secret Addams dialect. Every now and then, you'll catch a flash of frustration from him as he deals with the clan's wild antics, but he's never far from the action, always ready with an eye roll or a huff, but loyal to the core. It's pretty clear he's more than just staff. By now, he's a part of the family, a gloomy guardian with a knack for popping up just when he's needed the most. Summoning him is half the fun. The family's signature bell pull, a noose, naturally, sets off a gong so loud it sounds like the house is about to crumble, yet no matter where he is, Lurch materializes instantly at the sound, grumbling out his famous, "You rang." Sometimes he even shows up before the bell has a chance to ring. Marvelous verdict! And with that, guys, we've come to the end of yet another marvelous video. No matter how many times the Addams Family gets remade, there's always something about Lurch that keeps us watching. Now, we want to hear from you guys. Have you watched all these different versions of Lurch? Which one is your favorite across all the different eras? Let us know your thoughts on this Addams Family staple in the comments section down below, and if you enjoyed watching this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more marvelous content like this. In the meantime, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.